Hidden away in these incredibly clean factories all over the world, there are these machines that are basically performing a miracle every single day. They are the reason our entire digital world even exists. This is the story of how that machine, the most complex thing we've ever built, came to be, completely against all odds.
Okay, to really get a sense of what's at stake, just look at this. The computer that landed us on the moon, the Apollo guidance computer, had a few thousand transistors. Your phone, maybe the one you're watching this on right now, has over 15 billion. That leap, it's so massive it's hard to even wrap your head around it. And it's all been powered by one single relentless idea. Just keep making things small.
But here's the thing, that progress did hit a wall, a hard one. The engine that drives our modern economy, the very idea of technology getting better and better, was grinding to a halt. The future of computing was in real trouble. So let's get into the heart of the problem. For decades, the entire tech world ran on a single, almost sacred rule. You've probably heard of it, Moore's Law. It's this simple observation that our electronics just get faster, more powerful, and cheaper year after year. And the way we did it was with a process called photolithography, which is a fancy way of saying we use light to print super tiny circuits onto silicon. The trick was simple. Use smaller and smaller wavelengths of light to draw thinner and thinner lines. And for a long, long time, it worked like a charm. We went from light with a 436 nanometer wavelength in the 80s, all the way down to 193 by the 2000s. But then, we hit a wall of physics. The lines we needed to draw were becoming smaller than the light we were using to draw them. Imagine trying to paint a pinstripe with a paint roller. It's just not going to work. By 2015, the industry was stuck. The only way forward was a huge leap to a totally new kind of light. A wavelength so short that using it for manufacturing was considered, well, physically impossible. When the idea was first brought up, people thought it was completely absurd. And this quote just says it all. When pioneers like Andy Huberlich first suggested using what's called Extreme Ultraviolet light, or EUV, his colleagues thought it was a joke. They actually laughed him off the stage. They called it a big fish story, something that just couldn't be done. And you know what? They had good reason to be skeptical. The physics were just brutal. First off, EUV light gets absorbed by pretty much everything, even air. So your entire machine has to be a perfect vacuum. Second, you can't use glass lenses like in a camera. The glass just soaks up all the light. And maybe the biggest problem of all, there's no natural source of this light on Earth. You literally have to create it from scratch. The challenges were so huge, so expensive, that the biggest names in the tech industry looked at this problem and, one by one, they all backed away. The whole idea was about to die. But then one unlikely company made an absolutely massive, almost unreasonable bet on the future. And this company wasn't some Silicon Valley giant. It was a smaller firm from the Netherlands called ASML. While everyone else saw an impossible money pit, ASML saw the future. They decided they were going to solve the entire insane EUV puzzle all by themselves. And that decision kicked off one of the greatest engineering quests in human history. To pull this off, ASML had to solve problems that sound like they come from science fiction. They basically had to build and tame a star inside a box. Their mission really broke down into three seemingly impossible tasks. First, figure out how to create this light that doesn't exist on Earth. Second, find a way to focus it. And third, use that light to stack over 100 layers of a chip with atomic precision. No big deal, right? So to create the light, they needed to reach this temperature, 220,000 Kelvin. They do it by blasting these tiny, tiny droplets of tin with a massive laser, turning them into a plasma that is 40 times hotter than the surface of the sun. And they have to do this 50,000 times every single second. It's just insane. But this created a catastrophic problem. These tiny tin explosions were splattering debris everywhere, and that debris was coating and completely destroying the priceless, one-of-a-kind mirrors inside the machine. For years, this one single issue almost killed the entire project. The solution they came up with was pure genius. Instead of one big laser blast, they used two. A small pre-pulse laser hits the droplet first, squashing it into a perfect little pancake. Then, a split second later, the main laser hits that flattened target, vaporizing it cleanly. It's like hitting a speeding bullet with another bullet to make it explode just right, 50,000 times a second. Okay, so they have the light. Now, how do you focus it?
Since lenses are useless, they needed mirrors. But the precision required here is just hard to comprehend. These are the smoothest objects humanity has ever created. To give you an idea, if you scaled one of these mirrors up to be the size of Germany, the biggest bump on its entire surface would be just 1 millimeter.
And finally, alignment. A modern computer chip isn't flat. It's like a skyscraper with over 100 floors, and each one needs to be stacked perfectly on top of the last. The room for error? 1.5 nanometers. That is smaller than the width of a few atoms. And this is all happening while parts inside are accelerating at over 20 Gs. It's an unbelievable feat.
After 3 decades and tens of billions of dollars, ASML did it. They tamed a star, they perfected the mirror, and they mastered the atom. The result is the machine that now builds our modern world. And the price for just one of these machines? Up to $400 million. And every single advanced chip in your phone, your computer, your car, it's made using this technology.
And here's the really wild part. To do its work on a scale of atoms, the machine itself is a monster. It weighs over 200 tons. It's this beautiful paradox, the biggest, most complex machine in the world, built to make the smallest things in the world.
The stats are just staggering. It's the size of a city bus. It's made of over 100,000 parts, sourced from 5,000 suppliers all over the world. To even ship one of these things, it takes 20 trucks and 3 fully loaded cargo planes. It is, without a doubt, the most complex machine we've ever built.
So when you step back and look at this whole incredible journey, what's the real lesson? What does the story of this impossible machine actually teach us? I think it comes down to this. Progress isn't always neat and logical. Sometimes the biggest leaps forward happen because a small group of people are just unreasonably persistent. They refuse to believe something is impossible, even when literally everyone else is laughing at them. This machine is proof that we can solve problems that seem to defy the very laws of physics. So the question I want to leave you with is this: what impossible problem should we be unreasonably persistent about solving next?